So I'm going to do another video and I'm just going to start talking, I think, see what happens. And I keep making videos and I keep saying the same thing over and over and over, same things. Because it's just the truth. And I don't know how to make it more clear than it already is, other than maybe just going over it again and maybe putting all of the concepts together. But the most fascinating thing I find about truth and the truth that I'm relating is not the complexity of it, or that it's not reasonable, that it doesn't make sense. Because the the people that I've spoken to that are closer to me and that actually listen to what I'm saying and understand that I'm a reasonable person and I'm pretty smart and I've done fairly well in this world, what I say to them, it makes sense. Like my friends who are not necessarily spiritually oriented at all, some of them are, some of them not. But when I talk to my close friends about what I'm about to talk about, they agree with it, that it makes sense. And that's probably because they've heard it a few times, quite a few times, and they're actually trying to understand it, right? They're not trying to shoot it down, or they don't. So if you're going to watch this with the intent to shoot it down, then just fuck off. Just stop now. I don't want any part of you. I'm not trying to convince people that want it to be wrong. I'm trying to convince people that are looking. I'm presenting this to people who are genuinely, sincerely looking for truth, and are ready for this. So, where do we start? Like, this theory answers all of the questions. So, we could start pretty much, I could start pretty much anywhere to lead in. But I think where I'll start is that people need to recognize how much suffering humanity is experiencing and how much suffering it's putting onto the natural world, like animals. We are causing the extinction and suffering of nature on this planet. And it seems as though a lot of people are not even aware, or we just keep suppressing it, how fucked up we really are. Like, no one really wants to talk deeply about how messed up humanity is. So if you don't recognize how messed up humanity is, then again, this probably isn't going to affect you very, it's not going to really be as important as it should be to you. So what so there's a search going on. I would say that religion, psychology, philosophy, and science, all of these intellectual endeavors are a search for something, right? There must be something. It's like a mystery, right? There's something that is being searched for. There's something that, and therefore there must be something wrong, right? We're looking and we feel that there's something wrong that needs to be fixed. And perhaps that's the cause of all of our suffering, all of the problems and all the suffering, anxiety, whether it be physical suffering, which we don't experience that much anymore, or psychological suffering, which humanity experiences in a big way. So what non-conceptuality does is that it exposes what that problem is, right? I have come to realize and express it through non-conceptuality that there is basically one singular problem with humanity. But it's so prevalent and we take it to be so natural and that no one questions it, and that is thought. The thought process, which is the voice in the head, which also includes imagination, right? So everything that you would put in as non-physical. So like you're imagining something, your mind's eye would be thought. Words and symbol, also thought. So the voice in your head is the thought realm. And that's what's wrong with humanity. But no one wants to go that deep. No one wants to expose that the problem with humanity is exactly the thought process and the voice in the head. So this is why non-conceptuality is not catching on very quickly. It's catching on deeply. There's really a handful of people that see this and agree with it as being truth and are practicing the one-step path. So now I need some sort of evidence that it is actually the voice in the head that is the problem, right? So all of these systems of thought, whether it's religion, philosophy, psychology, science, despite all of these systems of thought, humanity is on the verge of extinction. Now, if you can't see that as well, and if you don't agree with that, then bye-bye. This isn't for you. It's okay. I'm not here to get a lot, to get numbers. I'm here to get depth. There will be not many people that accept this. So I don't imagine I will ever have a lot of followers, but the ones who do get this and accept it, they will understand reality at a very deep level. So that's what we're going for. We're going for deep roots. So despite all systems of thought throughout all of history that have tried to explain what's going on and give advice and make the world a better place and increase our understanding of reality, despite all these systems of thought, humanity is basically approaching the gates of hell. That we're entering World War III, and the environment is collapsing far faster than the general public is being told. So what evidence is there that the thought realm, that the voice in the head, is actually the problem? So I will go as far to say that it's Satan and Maya and ignorance, all the things that religions that point to and relate as the problem personify as a problem, it's the voice in the head, which is Satan and Maya and ignorance. So it is apparent to me that all of these institutions that have been developed through thought are all collapsing simultaneously. So the financial system, which basically all of society runs on, is collapsing. The fiat currency system, which is based after 1971, when the entire system was taken off gold as being the standard on which it was based, the standard on which it's all based now, the financial system, is just thought, fiat, by decree. So it's just, you're told what the value of your local currency is, and everyone's just supposed to agree upon that and believe that, because it's not based on the physical realm anymore. So since 1971, it's been, the entire world financial system has been this fiat currency, which again is just all thought and mathematics based. It's all based on mathematics now, the financial system. And it's all collapsing simultaneously because it's a Ponzi scheme. I don't want to get too deep into that, but you can't have the system be the source or the base of the system. It has to be something that's transcendent of the system. And a gram of gold, an ounce of gold, a weight of gold or silver is connected to the physical realm because it's a weight, right? It's basically based on gravity and not just mathematics. So anyway, the short version is that the world financial system, the entire thing is collapsing right now. It's just going to print into hyperinflation because that's what happens with the Ponzi scheme, right? So the institution of thought and mathematics that is the economy and the financial system of the world collapsing. How about the governments of the world? It doesn't really matter what it's called, right? Whether it's democracy or communism or dictatorship, they're all breaking down, right? None of them work anymore. Look at the American system. Look at who's the head, who's going to be the next president. Look at who has been the president of the United States the last 2 times and who's going to be the next one. It's broken, right? So that the whole entire government system in Canada, same thing, broken, right? It doesn't work anymore. So government broken, financial system broken. What about the legal system? Do you think, like, how do you feel about the legal system? Do you feel that it's fair and actually expressing truth and getting to truth? To me, the entire legal system is also broken. In the United States, they're just allowing petty theft to happen with just, they can just go in, and if there's a big group of you can just go in and steal stuff and walk away, and that's it. And anyway, all of the misjustice that's happening in the world, to me, that system is breaking down as well. So, and what about academia? Like, to me, that is also producing garbage, right? So to me, all of these systems are breaking down simultaneously. So to me, that's one of the biggest proofs, if one is objective about it, that these institutions that are based on thought, right? It's all thought, right? Other than the little offices, little cubicles where people sit to do their thought stuff all over the place, right? Office jobs. They're all collapsing. All so to me, that is an indication that thought itself does not work in the physical realm, right? So what about mathematics? Mathematics is all thought based, right? It's all use of symbol and thought. So how do I prove that math, which is a system, mathematics, which is a system of thought, is incorrect, is false? Okay, so I'm going to make a distinction between truth, true and false, and correct and incorrect. All right, so to me, truth is that which reveals falsity. That's exactly what truth is. So, in a way, truth only comes about after falsity arises, right? So, something that is false, which is maybe mistaken, and I meant something that is mistaken, or something that is deliberately produced as deception and taken that way. So something like a lie, right, would be a deception. That would be false. So a lie is falsity, right? It's a deception. And truth is the revelation of that lie, right? It's the completion of that lie, because every lie needs to be exposed, because that's what truth is. So truth is basically the opposite of a lie. In my model, the truth is the opposite of a lie. So, and correct means that it functions within a system. So 1 plus 1 equals 2 isn't truth, right? It's correct. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 2 is not a true statement. It is a correct statement in relation to the system that has been developed. It's been created, invented by human consciousness. And that's Principia Mathematica, and the proof that 1 plus 1 equals 2 is exactly the invention of mathematics. Right? That's the creation of it. It's the proof. It's supposed to be what the axiom of 1 plus 1 equals 2 is based on. So, so mathematicians like to say that the operation of the physical realm is basically based on mathematics, that mathematics is what governs the actions of the physical realm, right? The operation of the physical realm, mathematicians, many of them believe that it's all based on math, that math governs the actions of the physical realm. But there's no direct evidence of that at all, is there? Right? There's no way of describing how symbols on a page is somehow transmitted into some magical through some magical force into some magical force that that operates the physical realm. There's absolutely no direct evidence of that causation at all, is there? But when we look at it objectively, and we do look for a direct causal relationship between mathematics and the physical realm, well, that's technology, right? When the mathematical realm, which is all thoughts, it's all thoughts put down as symbols on a two-dimensional surface, that interaction with the physical realm develops technology, right? So the causal relationship between mathematics and the physical realm is technology. So just this one revelation that I just said, right? That the direct causal relationship between mathematics and the physical world is technology, right? It's not it doesn't tell the trees how to grow. It rips down the trees, tears them down, and builds houses of them, right? It doesn't, mathematics doesn't create the elements in the earth. That technology digs those elements up to make to process to make more technology. So okay, so now the next question is, well, what is technology doing to the planet and to nature? The technology that mathematics is directly causal with, what is that technology doing? Well, it has the human species helplessly addicted to the technology, right? The screen. We're helplessly addicted to the screen. And the technology is destroying all life on Earth through climate change, through nuclear weapons, through the melting down of the 450 nuclear power plants that operate on the planet, that will stop operating when society collapses and no one has a job anymore and there's no gas to get to the nuclear power plant. How many of those are going to melt down? So the causal relationship between math and the physical world is technology, and that technology has humanity helplessly addicted to that technology and becoming more and more dependent upon the technology, and that technology is also destroying all life on Earth. So how does that not prove that math is wrong? Right? I'm not saying that it is incorrect. I'm saying that it's false. I'm saying that all of math is a lie. We've taken the lie to be true and we've gone with it. So here's more proof of exactly what I'm talking about. So there's the greatest philosophical question about mathematics is mathematics invented or discovered? Right? This is the big question. Is mathematics discovered or invented? And my theory says, so first of all, why don't we ask the question, why does mathematics appear to be both invented and discovered at the same time? Right? So if mathematicians are asking if it's invented or discovered, then it obviously expresses both invented and discovered qualities simultaneously. So what is a state? What is a condition, an actual experiential phenomenon that expresses both discovered and invented qualities? if we could find that, then maybe that's what math is. So my theory says that that is a message that has been discovered and is going through the interpretation process, expresses both discovered and invented qualities simultaneously. So I've gone over this many times. I'm going over it again. So first of all, a message is designed to contact someone who cannot be contacted directly. And someone who is in a delusion cannot be contacted directly. In that, let's say that someone believes they're Elvis Presley. Well, you can't just go up and directly say, hey man, you're not Elvis Presley, you're Joe Smith. Well, that doesn't work because it's obviously been tried before. Probably many, many times people have told Joe Smith that he's not Elvis, but it ain't working because Joe Smith is in a state of delusion. Not Joseph Smith, imagine that. I didn't plan that. All right. So in this case, this message has been implanted within you, the collective of human consciousness, because it is this state of trying to reach someone who is in a state of delusion. You have to reach them, not directly, right? Speaking the truth to them directly, but through the delusion. In the delusion, you must contact them, and then somehow, from using that which produces the delusion or meeting them in the delusion, hopefully somehow you can help them break out of it. So that's what this message is. It's a message, the number system, all right? So now I'm getting into what math is. And it's, right, like I said, a message that has been discovered and is going through the interpretation process, exhibits both discovered and invented qualities at the same time. So the invented part would be you find, think of Arrival, the movie Arrival. They find a message and they're rearranging. They know it's a message, but they don't know the language, or they do know the language, but they don't know what the message specifically is. So they manipulate the information within the message in order to discover what the message is, right? So what's happened is that the number system is a message, and I'm even going to tell you what the message is. So the message, you got to stick with me because this explains everything. It does. It's not convoluted. Like, it sounds like it's complex, but it's complex in that because it explains everything. So this is how it explains everything. The thing that I'm describing itself is not convoluted. I'm not making this up. It just seems a bit complex because it answers all of the questions. The answering of the questions might seem complicated, but stick with me. So it's a message. So mathematics is a message that has been discovered and is going through the process of interpretation, right? So discovered, check, right? Invented, the invented part is the interpretation where you're manipulating the information within the message in different ways in order to bring out patterns, right? So you can try to figure out what it is. So and the delusion, it's put in with symbol. So symbol itself is what causes the delusion, right? It projects an illusion, and then that's what causes the delusion is symbol itself. So we're using symbol and language that causes the delusion to try to break one out of the delusion. So the message is the number system. the natural number system that goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to infinity in a redundant fashion is the message. That's the whole message. So the number system, we're removing mathematics from the number system, right? So the mathematics is the manipulation of the information contained within the number system in order to try to understand what the message is, what the meaning of the numbers is, right? There's meaning to numbers, and we don't know what that is. So you have to, in your head, you have to separate the number system, right? It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for infinity. That's it. That's the message, right? And you have to separate counting from that. So there's no addition. 1 plus 1 equals 2 isn't what the number system is referring to. That exactly is the incorrect interpretation of the message. So it's not quantity. It is not relating quantity at all, which is the invention of quantity, is the proof of Principia Mathematica. But it's wrong. So it's incorrect. So this is what I'm saying. All right, so the message. The number system, right, is a linear expression of a cyclical process. So you think of a circle, a clock that goes to 9, okay? And each iteration you can count. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then that you could count that as the first iteration of the cycle, right? So that would be 1, 0. So you'd count the first iteration as 1. So if you think of that as what it's really expressing, it's a linear expression of a cyclical process. I can't really break that down anymore. Is that it becomes redundant, right? There's a redundancy to the infinity. And that is exactly the cycle of samsara. So it's a map. It's basically saying the infinite redundancy that is expressed linearly as the number system is exactly samsara. It's exactly the same message as the Hindus revealed thousands of years ago as samsara. It's the exact same information, except it's a little more detailed because it's a map of sorts. So we are the 10. Human consciousness is the 10, represented by the 10. And the redundancy that happens at 11 is exactly what's happening with the digital world, right? Everything that's recorded that occurs in this realm and recorded and replayed on a screen over and over and over and over again, that is the redundancy that is being expressed as 11. Okay, so this actually makes sense. It actually fits what is occurring within humanity. So the reason why mathematics goes on forever, which is Gödel's incompleteness theorem, like Gödel's incompleteness theorem expresses that a logical system cannot determine on its own within itself whether it is ever going to conclude its search, like whether it can never prove itself to be correct or incorrect, true or false. So mathematics is one of these systems that logic itself has indicated is one of these processes that will go on forever because it will never reach conclusion. And the why it will never reach conclusion, reach the answer that it's looking for, which is the proper interpretation of the information contained within the number system, is because the initial assumption is incorrect. You see? This is huge. Like, it makes perfect fucking sense. And yet it's the ramifications of it are so huge that people just refuse to agree that it could possibly be. But it actually makes sense what I'm saying, right? So the reason why mathematics will go on forever without ever reaching a conclusion is exactly because it's the incorrect interpretation. So the initial assumption that the series, the process of series and the information expressed in the number system is counting is incorrect, right? The very first assumption is incorrect. So that it's been wrong the whole time. And, oh, okay. So this is why it'll also go on for infinity, because imagine that this is a message implanted within consciousness, the collective human consciousness, by the creator to help consciousness break out of its delusion, to help humanity break out of its deep, deep, deep state of delusion. So let's think of this as a labyrinth. You he it we it the creator implanted these signs, these messages in the labyrinth or within the mystery to express themselves and be revealed where we're the most lost, right? Like, you don't put up a sign when you're really close to the finish, to discovering the mystery, or finding the exit sign in the labyrinth. You don't put up a sign. The sign is placed as an assistance to help consciousness where it is most lost, right? You're really lost. Here's something to help you get back on the right track, right? So that's why these are being revealed now, is because humanity is in the deepest state of delusion that's basically possible. And this is why, again, why that it's been misinterpreted is because of our deep state of delusion. And our deep state of delusion keeps getting deeper exactly because we have assumed mathematics to be correct, right? The initial interpretation of counting and addition to actually be correct, and it isn't, and that's why we're going further and further into delusion, is because it's 180 degrees the wrong way, and we just assume that it's correct, but it's not the correct interpretation of the message. So, and here's why mathematics is so powerful, right? Is exactly because it is a message specifically designed by the creator of all of this. So that information is going to be like the most compact information that's basically possible. And the incorrect unpacking of a message from God that's designed to break human consciousness out of its deep delusion, the incorrect unpacking of that could go on indefinitely and it would have a lot of power, right? The incorrect use of this information designed by God itself has a lot of power. And that's what's going on. So mathematicians are engaging in the ongoing incorrect interpretation of the message that is the number system. And that message is telling humanity that I don't associate with humans anymore as a human. So that that they're about to go into this next huge iteration, that we are the 10 and the switch into 11, which is the new iteration on the clock, right? Just a redundant iteration, a lesser experience. If you think that being inside a video game is a greater experience than being out here, I think you're delusional. So it's a lesser experience, lesser redundant experience. So this is what's happening with humanity. And that's just the number system. I also have the triune fundamental model of reality, which shows how the symbol, the language of symbol, that is the English language, is also expressing a lie at the thing nothing level, which is the most fundamental expression of reality in the English language, right? Something, everything, anything, nothing. That's supposed to cover it, but it's wrong. So even the language of mathematics is, it's correct only in relation to the. So here's another thing about that invention part and the creation. So when God developed that message, it wasn't thinking about it, had, and it wasn't planning on, and it had no knowledge of what the patterns that the incorrect interpretation of the message would develop, right? All God did was develop this incredibly compact message that is the number system without any knowledge of what would be produced, right? With the incorrect interpret, what patterns would develop from the incorrect interpretation of that message, the incorrect unfolding of that message. So it really is the act of creation, because God itself doesn't know where that would go. So I had more to do, I had more to talk about, but it's telling me that maybe I'm going to stop because my storage, my memory storage, anyway. So there's way more to this, but that's all I could get out right now. But just this mathematics thing alone, it completely makes sense why mathematics operates, why it keeps developing as it goes more abstraction. It's not relating more and more to the physical realm, is it? It's relating less and less and less as it goes along. It relates less to the physical realm. So that's another indication that it was wrong to fucking start with. You started off wrong, and now it's just getting more wrong, which equals more abstract. It's not relating to the physical realm at all. And how it influences the physical realm being a lie, being taken as true to be false, is destroying all the life on the fucking planet. So all of humanity is in this state of delusion. This is why I sound like the crazy person, even though this makes complete sense to someone who's just using their own faculties to understand this, right? Just don't listen to anyone else. Just use your own ability to reason. And if it makes sense to you, then Occam's razor would say, well, it's more likely that this is the actual explanation of what's going on, rather than 360 pages of Principia Mathematica that no one understands, right? So a theory that's understandable and makes sense, but is not accepted because of it destroys everything that's false. It reveals everything that is taken to be true to be false, right? So it's being rejected not on being elegant and having a massive explanatory reason why things are happening the way they are. Like what mathematics actually is. It actually explains what mathematics actually is and why it operates the way it is. But it's not accepted as truth because it reveals everyone to be wrong. And the actions of what's happening with humanity on the planet and with nature is evidence that we're wrong. All of humanity is wrong. Everything that humanity does is unnatural and is killing all life on the planet. So don't just go, oh, well, if you're someone that has authority to change something within mathematical field or science or somewhere, if you have some sort of clout, then just grab some balls and step out and say, listen, look at this. The empire is naked. Not just the emperor, the entire empire is naked. Riding on the elephant in the room. I could fit an elephant in this room. But the elephant in the room, the empire is riding the elephant on the room, and I just exposed all of it. But because the ramifications are so extreme, like that they just can't accept it. They just can't accept that everyone's been wrong the whole time. You just have to accept it. It's all laid out in front of you. Use your own reason. Don't listen to anything. Just drop everything that you believe, everything you've been taught, because they've all been in delusion too, the whole way, right? I'm saying that the very voice in your head is Satan, and all it can do is lie. Except for these messages that are placed within the lies to try to break you out of the deception. It's this deep. I'm like, don't kill the messenger. It's this deep within our psyche and our consciousness. It's the voice in our head. That's what's wrong. The whole it's another case of being correct, in that we all agree that it relates to things in the physical world, but it's it's correct, but it's a lie. The voice in your head is a lie. And mathematics is a lie within a lie. It's just a further development of the thought process. And mathematics, it doesn't even require reference to the physical realm in order to generate thought now. Right? So if thought processes are mechanisms through which thought is produced, that's all it does, to distract your attention away from the reality, then mathematics, it doesn't even require relation to the physical realm anymore in order to generate thought. All right, well, it's all there. It all explains everything. And if you want to know more, then nonconceptuality.org.